Greetings, beautiful people. This is SB Favor Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. How are you doing today? It is January 31st. 2021 Sunday. Another wonderful day. Another day to be thankful and another day to focus on what is good. And as I always say, if you focus on what is good, then you can project something good to happen. So focus on what is good. If you're out there traveling about, make sure that you are wearing your mask, using your hand sanitizer, and keeping yourself safe. We all have to continue to do our part during this pandemic. And also, I want to remind you, if you're out there on the road driving, make sure that you stay safe on the roads. There is a storm in the northern parts, and so please make sure that you stay safe out there. Say a quick prayer and just please keep yourself safe. I have a special guest here today. His name is Nigel Battle, and our topic is going to be about entrepreneurship encouragement. And he is a YouTube influencer. He happens to be my nephew, and I'm so proud of you, Nigel. How you doing today?
I'm so good. Thank you so much. That was a very beautiful intro, and my heart goes out to everyone out there battling on the roads as well as with the pandemic. I hope everyone is staying safe, and well wishes to everyone listening for sure.
Yeah. How you been since all this stuff has been going on during this pandemic? How have you been?
I've been doing good. I've been trying to really just look at everything from a positive, creative aspect, really just trying to make the best of the time. I would say that my story is a little different in terms of when I was at my job and things like that, with everything, the way things happen with me. But as far as just making the best of the time, that's all I've just been trying to do is make sure that it's used best.
That's good. That's good. You know why? Because it's important to stay busy. A lot of people are home, and that goes right into our topic. If you are home and you feel like you're bored, guess what? You have creative abilities, people. So make sure that you use them. And so me and Nigel are going to talk about entrepreneur encouragement because he is a YouTube influencer. So Nigel, let me ask you this question. What made you get started? Or how did you get started, I should say?
So I started literally a little bit over a year ago, and I talk about it a lot on my channel because it's all about just kind of how it all connects to me. And I started music, and I really was interested in making a music visual for the song that I had co-produced with someone. I always loved music. I've always been very musical and into performing and theater and lots of stuff my whole life. And I always seen people do music, and I finally took that leap to do it. And once the song was done and I went to go upload it to Spotify and iTunes and everything, I decided I wanted to make like a little music video for it. And when it came time to upload the music video, I realized YouTube was, that's where everyone uploads their music videos to. And once I uploaded the video and it was done, I kind of just took a deep look at my channel, and I was like, I had a lot of battling in my head because it's such a big platform, and you don't ever want to feel like it's a big move to get on there, and I didn't want people to expect a lot from me just by me being on there from the first day. So I started to do videos kind of in private, and I didn't tell anyone. So I started, after I uploaded the music video, I kind of just kept doing videos based off of things that I liked and enjoyed, and I did it in secret because I was actually really scared that people would just look at my numbers and see I had no subscribers, I had no views, and I was going hard, and it was a little embarrassing because I was putting my all into something and nobody was really seeing it. So it was interesting for sure.
So let me ask you this. So you just decided to start your channel, and you said that your numbers were not good, and so what made you just keep going so that your numbers could increase?
So eventually, after about a month or two, I did eventually, as you kind of break the ice to my close family and friends that I was on YouTube. And once I got through kind of telling my mom and my close friends, it kind of just, that was kind of all I needed. As long as I had just a little bit of support, it kind of lit this fire under me. And then ever since then, I've just kind of just been more open to sharing and talking about my experience, and even talking about those days where as I was saying, kind of talking to myself about very, very interesting days.
Well, it's something how, when you start a business of any kind, or when you're trying to accomplish something, when you first take the step to do it, you're never going to see just a big explosion sometimes, right? Things take time to establish themselves. And like you said,
Right.
you didn't see the numbers at first, but then all of a sudden the numbers just exploded. So how did you feel once you saw the numbers started to increase? Because you have what, close to 10,000 subscribers, don't you?
I do, yeah. It's something. It's happened so slowly. It's so weird to hear, the number like 10,000 subscribers, but it was something that over the year it just slowly happened little by little. Each and every video kind of allows you to connect with a different audience, depending on how well you connect with the analytics of YouTube. As far as YouTube, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, that whole chapter of just being on YouTube, there's so much availability on there to be seen. So I really took advantage of that. Like once I got the confidence and I got everyone kind of on board with me and that this is what I wanted to do, I kind of expressed that more, and you can kind of see that in my videos. And I along with that confidence, I uploaded more. So a lot of people always preach consistency, and that naturally kind of happens when you're just kind of inspired by yourself.
That makes perfect sense, being inspired and being confident, because confidence is very key when you're trying to start a business. When you're trying to accomplish anything, it's important that you are confident, and you exemplified that. And like you said, it came from a different type audience. Different videos came from different types of audience to view them, and so it's a wonderful thing. So let me ask you this: what were some of the challenges that you experienced when you decided to just keep going? Did you ever consider giving up, or you just said, no, I got to keep going?
I don't ever want to come across as like I don't like the word cocky or anything like that.
Right.
But I haven't hit that day yet. And when I say I feel so lucky and so blessed that I haven't had that challenge yet, where I have felt like I wanted to give up yet, because I know a lot of YouTubers in particular, there's so much about being an entrepreneur, but a lot of YouTubers in particular, it's so easy to want to give up, and especially in the beginning. But weirdly enough, I kind of gave up on myself way before I started so much that once I hit the ground running, it was just, I have not looked back since, because I spent the past decade, YouTube has been out since around 2008, 2009 is when it started to really get popular.
Right.
And that's about a decade now.
Yeah.
And literally since the platform has come out, just by the way I've acted and the way I've come across, my personality, like who I am, I've been told to be on the platform for literally a decade. Since the platform has started, people have told me, you need to be on YouTube, you need to make a YouTube video, why aren't you famous? I would always get that question, even meanly enough. That was even more of like a harassment, where it would always be like, why aren't you YouTube famous? Why aren't you on YouTube? Blah, 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 And I just never truly believed in myself.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of sad, but it's also like that whole decade I was building up kind of that confidence that everyone was giving me.
Right.
And then literally a decade later, I can't control when it happened, but I'm glad that it did happen. But it finally clicked, and I started to believe in myself. Like I said, a little bit around this time last year, a year ago, and I just have not looked back since. So I haven't had that day yet where I'm like, I'm going to give up, because I'm still kind of feeling that momentum of starting.
That's beautiful.
Like kind of still just started in a way. I'm still very new when it comes to it all. Like I've had a lot of success with it, but I'm still very new. I'm much like any other new entrepreneur,
Well, that's a blessing that you have a good attitude, and I must say I am proud of you, because you took the initiative to do something that you've never done before. I mean, you've always been a singer, stage performer, but to do that was to take it to, like you said, the next level, because you didn't just become stagnated. You stepped out on something, and I just think that's good, because that's the reason why we're talking about this now, is because there is somebody out there that needs to be encouraged. They need to know that it takes confidence, and confidence starts with how you think, and using your creative abilities is essential to possibly become an entrepreneur by providing a service to someone for your service. So,
right.
you know,
and by being your own unique self, by providing whatever service, that's really the best way to kind of bring people and kind of really get them to understand you and what you're speaking about is by telling it from your own personal perspective and your own story, by being unique.
Absolutely, because we're all distinctively different and we all have something to give to the next person, and we all have some type of platform or audience, right? And you mentioned the word consistency. Consistency is very, very important, because if you do something, if you step out, then guess what? You're required to be consistent. And so, being consistent, being confident, and as Nigel said, just being confident is just very, very important. So, what are your plans for the future, if any at all, pertaining to that? You just going to continue to do what you're doing, or are you going to do something different? Because I saw that you started another YouTube channel. I saw that.
Yeah, so I mean, that channel is everything that we're pretty much talking right now.
Okay.
Over the past year, last year, my YouTube channel has grown significantly, and on Facebook, which is ironic because it's the very place that I was afraid to share it and show people that I was on, the same people that I was kind of afraid to let them see that I was on the platform ended up kind of being the same people to message me and ask me about my growth and ask me about, the general question, how do we get more views? How do I grow? Like what anyone wants to know when they have a YouTube channel. So that second YouTube channel is literally just that. It's an educational, coach-based YouTube channel to help brand new people with channels just like I was. Like when that was such a huge part of my growth.
Yes.
When I was telling confidence earlier, that was not something that I kind of sculpted. I found other mentors on YouTube who talked about starting their channels, who talked about starting their businesses, taking the plunge, and it was their words and their encouragement that kind of led me to where I was. So now that I'm a year into it, it felt so proper to just start that second channel because I wanted to make sure I get back.
Awesome. So
this past year.
So you love to encourage others to do the same thing that you have done.
Right, because I just didn't. I had so much of the confidence wasn't there, and it was all really came to the conversation. If someone had a conversation with me like I have had on my second channel, I know it would have been better. It's just certain things you need to hear at a point in that change in your life.
Right.
And I didn't hear it for so long. So those things fast and I hit them quick on my second channel because I want those people who are listening that it's possible, It's very much like it's all in your head. Like there really is money on YouTube and not having a 9-to-5. You really can lead your own life and your own rules, but it takes so much hard work, so much discipline, more than you could ever believe. So it's not for the lazy. It's not so many kind of like stereotypes of people who work from home, entrepreneurs in general. So it's a lot to kind of like you're dealing with there.
Wow. You use the word discipline. Discipline goes with consistency. Just constantly doing the work to make sure everything is flowing the way it needs to be flowing. And then also you're constantly learning in the process exactly what you should do and how, correct?
Yeah, so you're learning and creating. And then you also, I would say that the part of that that's super important is feeling, because you just want to make sure that even when you're trying to be disciplined to get as much of the amazing content out as you want or as you can to increase your business or grow your revenue, whatever you're trying to do, the most important thing is that content is and that it means something, and that you're not just putting a video up to put it up or putting a podcast episode up to put it up, or it's doing a music song and doing a music video and releasing it just because you look cute and it's going to get a lot of views. Like there's just certain things like the audience and that people can feel these days. If you don't put your kind of all into it, that's kind of how you kind of get lost in the radar when it comes to you really.
Yeah, being who you are is It's very important because, as you stated, people can pick that up. During the podcast, when I first started this, one of the things I thought about was, okay, what do I want to talk about? I mean, I'm always having a conversation with somebody about something, right? And when you are on any type of public platform, it is very important to just genuinely be who you are. Be that everyday person that you are. Don't become something else just because you are in the public, because that's fake and that's phony. Sometimes when I'm talking really fast, I trip over my words, and you know what I say? So what? Because I'm human.
Oh yeah. Listen, I got to where I stopped to edit out kind of mistakes, like my bloopers.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I first started, I would any little sniffle, any little way I turned I was so hard on myself with the way I looked and sounded. All these, as time just went on, as I kind of audience, you kind of just, the things that they were staying for were the things that I was forgetting to edit out. You know what I mean? Those real moments.
Yeah.
They were looking for all along in my channel.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. They just relate. There's so many people, and then that kind of wraps into like where we're at right now as a society, and that people just want to relate. They want to find someone they can relate to online. And 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, you could relate to people online and out in the world.
Yeah.
And only do that online. So when that happened, that was also like, there was lots, as I was saying earlier, there's that kind of brought me. But when the pandemic happened, it kind of felt like my duty as somewhat of an entertainer and of throughout my whole life to kind of just try to get on the platform and try to make people happy because they need it right now. And that was so much a part of why I started. And when I started and I started to get a couple of subscribers, they noticed that. They would leave me comments, they would talk with me, and they were like, "You are making my day, and you are making this pandemic so much easier to get through." Once I started getting comments like that, I was like, "Okay, I'm doing."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Hard to stop. Yeah, it's happy or not, because why would I not want to wake up and make a video that is going to literally help someone get out of bed? Like, I ended up getting really serious as time went on. People revealed them how it influenced their day in general. And yeah, you kind of, you gain you have to start doing things, and you kind of gain that, what is that word?
That's encouraging. You're encouraging others. You're inspiring others. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to use our creative abilities to inspire one another. That's why I stated a lot of people are home, and, some people say, oh, they're bored. And it's important that we tap into our gifts. It's important that we be creative at this time, because our creative abilities bring us all joy, right? So that's very important. But we just want to encourage you listeners to do something you've never done before. Take some risks, and safe risks, that is, and be creative. And your creative ability could possibly turn into a business to provide a service. So we just want to encourage you with that. And so Nigel, so you started a podcast as well. And so what's that about?
Sorry, say that one more time.
I'm sorry, you started a podcast as well. I saw that you started a podcast recently, and I wanted to ask you, what was that about?
So the podcast, I started that definitely really recently, and it was super scary to start. I'll just say that. It was very scary to start that. The podcast is actually a little scarier to start than the YouTube channel, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm. Why?
It just felt like I had the same feelings that I got when I was about to start the podcast that I got kind of in my stomach when I went to start the YouTube channel, and just kind of like, am I in over my head?
Yeah.
And kind of like what you just said just now, like, or before that, when you had said, because I'm doing a lot right now, and I know that people can see that I'm doing a lot right now, and I never wanted anyone to to think that I'm being too extra or anything. Yeah. But let me just say that all of those thoughts they're all things to take into consideration. But what I did with starting the podcast at this time is so much about being a true entrepreneur, in that you really, really do have to have your hand kind of in more than one thing.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, you have to realize that there's some people who do full-time entrepreneurship and some people who do part-time. For the people who are looking to do it full-time, time and to not have kind of like that 9 to 5 over them. Like, this is what that means, kind of. This is what it means. You kind of need the security of more than one business or more than one website or more than one thing to stay afloat. And that's just what it means to be an entrepreneur. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so that podcast is another stream of income in me being an entrepreneur. So while to everyone else it looked like, oh my gosh, he just started his channel last year, or oh my gosh, he just started a second channel this year a week ago, and now he's starting a podcast a week now, because they were literally a week apart. I introduced those two. But to me, I had known in my heart that they were coming for months. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was just waiting for a more proper time, but there never was the right time. No matter when I did it, someone was going to say something about it. And that's when I realized I'm just going to do it when I want to do it. So I did it.
Yeah, it's so important to just, like I said, take risk and step out.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe you can do something, and if you dream of doing something, if you don't try, how will you ever know if you could actually do it? So that's why it's so important to make a plan, pray about what you want to do, and step out and implement your plan, and just do it.
And you were obviously so much a part of that too. Us being friends on Facebook and me seeing so much of your content kind of out there every day was just very inspiring. And more than anything, I realized after listening to a couple of your episodes, what a podcast kind of allows you to do that my other social media websites weren't allowing me to do, which is get on that more deeper, more vocal kind of thought process level. And when I realized I had that in me, and I say, like I told you when I was talking to you earlier, when I listen to your podcast, I can hear myself.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like to get to that level, that's like some people are kind of afraid to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I realized I heard you doing it, and I was like, I can probably do that too. That's when that also sparked an interest in me, kind of like trying that project out.
That's cool. It's good to express your feelings and inspire people, because I just believe that that's part of why I am here on the earth, is to inspire others. And I say that because I know what it's like to be discouraged. I know what it's like to be disappointed. And so in return, I know what it's like to be encouraged, So that's why I started the podcast, because I'm always having conversations with people. I'm always giving people advice. I'm always on the phone talking about something every single day. And
you know what? And I remember that. I remember that growing up, literally, like you were always on the phone, and it was never just chit chat. You were having the most intellectual conversations on that phone. I could just see by the look in your eyes. Like, you've always been that way. So that's great.
Yeah. I'm always talking to people about something. So I was talking to a friend of mine one day, and we were just talking about a podcast. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And so here I am. But we are talking about entrepreneurship, encouragement, and the reason why me and Nigel are talking about this is because we want to encourage you to take the initiative to do something you've never done before, because if you do that, then you can fulfill your dreams. You could possibly do something that can just give you joy every day, something that won't even be work anymore, something that you love to do that it just won't even be work anymore. Isn't that awesome?
It's very beautiful. And that market and the idea of that and being able to do that as a lifestyle, it's something that's growing. So it's not something to be scared of and think like, oh my gosh, that's not for me. Like everything that like saying, oh my gosh, that's not for me. Like I only say that because that's literally something I thought. Like I would always see people, living their influencer dreams either on Instagram or YouTube, and I would think like, oh, that's great for that person. I would think that person's great to do that. Yeah. It took me so long to think, wait a minute, like I can do that too. Like there's the difference between you and that person is you trying to do it. To anyone listening, you know what I mean? It's just about you taking that leap and crossing over. You know what I mean? That person who's a YouTuber wasn't always a YouTuber. That person who's doing a podcast didn't always have a podcast.
Yeah.
It was a day one for everybody. And that's something that's so hard to believe. When you see your favorite YouTuber or your favorite singer on TV or your favorite actor in a movie, it's so hard to believe that they had a day one too. It's hard to understand that concept. So I always try to tell the people that I coach on my second channel and just my close friends and family, just like I always try to just preach that to them,
Yeah,
just start.
Yeah, stepping out is it can be a scary place, and I say that because I had to step out like that. When I decided to just do something that I've never done before. I mean, I thought about it for a long time, but I was just trying to figure out when was I going to take the step. But guess what? I was fired from my last office job, and that's how I took the step. So, I knew they was going to fire me. I'm not going to tell you where I was working, but I was in New Jersey, and, that was my last day on the job. And from that day forward, guess what? I have not been in the office since. And that was 11 years ago. Thank you, God. And the experience has been awesome to work from home and, do what I know to do. Be an entrepreneur. And let me tell you, being an entrepreneur is not always easy either, because you will have ups and downs. And when I say ups and downs, it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve to understand what you should do and how you should do it. And it's also a learning curve to stay encouraged and stay determined, because you're learning about yourself as you are learning about the business that you're pursuing. And so, it's all about learning. So I just wanted to say that. But tell me something else about your challenges in the process of you learning about this whole YouTube thing that you are doing now, Nigel. Because I know you had to have some type of challenges. You didn't have any type of challenges at all. I mean,
I was what you just said actually kind of just sparked kind of exactly what the challenges were.
Okay.
So the challenges were definitely kind of what you just stated, kind of trying to live my everyday life while at the same time making those videos consistently and podcast episodes and continuing everything I was doing kind of while juggling it with life.
Yeah.
But that was definitely a challenge, because you can't take off of life. When things happen, like you still want to wake up and you want to do videos all day and have a photo shoot and do this for your business and that for your business.
Yeah.
But then something happens to, someone in the family, or something happens in the house, or whatever it may be, whether it may be good or bad, if something unexpected pops up from life, you have to take the day off of your entrepreneurship. And sometimes those are the days where it's like, I'm trying to juggle it all, the unplanned days.
Isn't it something how sometimes, being an entrepreneur, you have to wake up all hours of the night. You have to get up just all hours of the night, and you just never know what you're going to have to do. Isn't that something?
Yeah. I mean, every day is a different schedule. As far as your close friends, I can say that one thing: the pandemic has definitely had its downs, but it has released me from being obligated to be at so many different places that it's hard to make it to when you're an entrepreneur, because you literally you do work around the clock, and sometimes you do that even without seeing any money. You're just planting seeds. Sometimes you're just you're growing your business, you're promoting. Sometimes you're not always receiving a revenue for all that time you put in, and that's the hardest part.
That's right.
But it's part of it. It's so much a part of it. And when people throw in the towel, 90% of those people are throwing it in on the moments where they're up till 3 a.m. doing work and they're not seeing revenue. Because that's one of the hardest times to continue to work, is when you don't see immediate revenue,
Yeah. When you don't see revenue as an entrepreneur, that's when you have to look at the long-term benefits to stay in it. Because if you're not making any money right away, sometimes the thought could come, oh, well, this is not working. But guess what? It's a building process. It's a building process. So it's not going to just blow up overnight. Some things take time. And because some things take time, you have to realize that in that moment when things are not happening quickly, look at the long-term benefits of what is going to happen based upon your vision, based upon your goals, the things that you want to manifest. That's when you have to stay very determined. What do you think about that, right?
No, that's absolutely right. You have to just know.
Yes, you have to know what to do next. You have to have a plan. You have to implement your plans. You have to pray. You have to keep your focus every day. You have to execute the things that are necessary to keep it going. You have to it's a serious journey. It's serious,
It's a lot of things. I think more than from everything you just said, I think the key word is patience.
Yes.
And I think that's something that's something that's really hard, because you can wake up with all that confidence, all that time in the world, all the ideas in the world, but if you don't have the patience because you can put out the best thing and not hear from anyone. That's just the way it is. It could be the best podcast episode, the best song, the best video, the best anything. But if it's not your time, it's not your time. That doesn't mean stop.
Right.
You know? But for a lot of people, it means stop. They will upload their first, second, or third video. They will not see an increase in views, and they will stop uploading because of that. They're not increasing. And at that point, you're just not being fair to yourself. Mm-hmm. You're not giving your business a chance. You're really, it's not enough time. You really have to put in time. And you can listen to entrepreneurs like us talk about it who've been doing it for a little bit longer, and we're still talking about this 24/7 days. And if that's the way it is in the beginning, that's the way it is now. And I'm guessing that's the way it's going to be in the future, because there's always something to work on, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a building process, and your time will come. If you believe and you have faith in what you're doing, your time will come, and it will be the way you want it to be. It will manifest on the level that you want it to manifest, whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams are. I just believe that when you work on something long enough, it becomes what you want it to be. I just believe that when you give up, then you'll never see what you want to manifest. So you can't give up. But if you continue to work on your goals, work on your plans, work on the thing that you want to manifest, then it can happen. And so just like you, Nigel, you took the initiative to do something that you've never done before, even though you've always performed on a stage, you've always sang, you've always done something in performing arts, but to do the video thing and do more on YouTube, you decided to do that. And when you did that, it became successful. What would you tell that person that's listening right now that needs to be inspired in terms of not giving up? Because we all go through times when we are a little discouraged, unfortunately, and we all just need to continue to be encouraged daily. So what would you say to that person to be inspired to not give up on whatever it is they want to manifest pertaining to their vision and goals?
You know, when I think about that story kind of like from beginning to end, I think about, that 10 years, that decade that YouTube was out and that everyone was telling me to do it. And I think about what we just talked about having that patience when you first start. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just realized, I feel like it's because of that whole 10 years, I was just too young to have that patience. Like, I know for a fact, my 18, 19-year-old self would not sit there and do the videos the way I do it now without seeing anything in return. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to the people who are listening, I would say to wait for all of the elements that we kind of talked about in this podcast. Wait for them all to align for you. And obviously, the sooner and younger they all align for you, when you have that consistency, that patience, that confidence, that strength, all that works for you. If you're young and it's there, then go for it. But if you feel like a piece of that is missing, then that's the time to kind of do some self-searching and figure out who you are before you start a business, because I think that's so much a part of your business being successful is making sure you're successful first, and that you believe you could do it first, and that your mindset is just 100% in the right place, because I can honestly say the minute I'm off, my business is off. My channel is off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all very much connected.
Yes, it's connected because we have to have the right attitude. Having the right attitude has everything to do with having the right mindset. What are you thinking every day? Are you thinking the right thoughts? Are you feeding yourself information daily to build yourself up? Because when you build yourself up, then you can have the right confidence. Because Nigel, you just mentioned, aligning yourself with the strength and the confidence and the things that you need for your business to be what you want it to be. Well, that comes from that person getting information, feeding themselves information every single day to be positive, to be productive, and to be diligent, to be determined, to be confident. It's so important to have the right mindset. I tell myself that all the time. Even when I'm going through some type of crisis or something in my life, I try to make sure that I am feeding myself information every day. And I use the word feed because you are what you think, and you are what you feed yourself. Just like if you eat the wrong food, you'll get sick. If you don't take in the right information every day, you'll get sick. So if you are taking in information every day to be inspired, to be encouraged, if you're taking in information every day to lift your spirit up, then guess what? You're working on yourself, and you're building yourself up. You're building yourself up so that you could possibly have a successful business one day, because you definitely need confidence, you definitely need patience, and you definitely need to be disciplined and consistent. So
Yes.
yeah, so all those things are very important. When you mentioned the fact that you were younger and you considered doing certain things and you didn't do it, it made me think about when I was younger, and I think I felt the same way. Years ago when I lived in Philadelphia, I wanted to start a cleaning business, and I wanted to start the business so bad. I had the clients lined up, but you know what? I didn't have the ability to do exactly what I needed to do because I needed to work on me. I was in my 20s at the time when I considered doing that. I was in my early 20s, and like I said, I had the clients lined up, I had everything lined up, but a piece of me was not ready. Isn't that something? And I can think about that now and be honest about it. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And so I think that if I would have started that business and followed through with all the plans, I think it would have just fell apart. Yeah. I truly believe that. But because now I know the difference, I can look back at that time and understand, look at my mindset and where I was then. Now I get it. Now I get it. So you made me think about that, because that's true. You definitely have to align yourself. You have to be right. You have to work on yourself and do the things that are necessary so that whatever it is that you are trying to manifest and plan and execute for yourself, so that it can be successful. So yeah, Nigel, thank you so much for sharing today, and I'm going to have you back again soon. It's so important that we just stay lifted up and encouraged. It's so much going on, but it's conversations like this that we have. We can be reminded of what to do, and we can be reminded of how to keep our mind focused on the things that we should be focused on. So and your podcast, I gotta listen to your podcast. You've been
the podcast it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit different. Like I said, it was inspired by seeing your content, but I also wanted to take it in my own personal direction. So it's called Nigel, a personal podcast, and the whole idea is actually that I don't have guests on there. It's actually more of just like my thoughts and ideas on a specific topic. But not to say that I wouldn't have guests on there, because I think that that's awesome that people do that for their podcast. Right. I just didn't want to put that pressure on myself for every episode for someone to kind of expect a guest. Just that's something I do. Just another little tip in my own entrepreneur business. I never like to kind of like offer something that I know I'm not gonna give every week or give every time I do it. So knowing that I wasn't gonna seek out someone to be on the podcast every time I wanted to film an episode, I chose to just take a personal approach. But I've enjoyed doing it. It's been therapeutic because I kind of just get to speak and talk the way I'm talking with you right now. And that's so nice to be able to do. It just get words off your chest. Like, whether someone listens or not, the podcast has been so therapeutic for me. Both being on this one and doing my own. It's real. They're just great. They really are. They make you feel better.
Yeah. Well, you are welcome to come and sit and chat with me anytime. I love talking about all kinds of topics. I'm open-minded to talk about anything as long as it's inspirational, because my whole focal point is to encourage people, to make sure that people can get up and keep running. I don't like to see anybody down. I don't like to see people discouraged. I like to, see people encouraged. I like to see people running with their goals and their plans. So
and all people, sometimes we see the same types of people.
That's right.
Running for their goals.
That's right.
And getting
all
their
people.
goals, and that's so much a part. Like, representation is such a big thing right now. For a little black girl to see a black woman become president, like those types of things are what we need right now. Like, so whatever you are, whoever you are,
that's right.
Follow that dream, chase that dream, because someone's got to be the first type of thing.
That's right.
I always like to preach that, because I feel like we just see a lot of the same people reaching their goals.
Yeah, and that's I'm glad you said that because this podcast, I have a few friends that are celebrities, and and I told one of my friends I don't want a lot of celebrities here. I want to encourage and talk to the everyday person because I believe that we all have a story to share and we all have something good to share. So that is my goal, and so I thank you so much, Nigel, for just taking the time out to chat with me. And I'm going to have you back again. And listeners, I thank you for so much time that you take to listen to SB Favorite Thinking podcast. We're going to wrap it up. Nigel, is there anything else you want to share?
Just thank you so much for having me. If anyone wants to check out my channel, it's over on Nigel Battle, and then the secondary channel is just Nigel Battle YouTube Coach. If you're interested in growing your brand some more or starting a YouTube channel, I'm going to have lots of kind of beginner, basic, core videos for anyone looking to start. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that I was interested in being told myself when I first began will be over on that channel. And yeah, both channels are welcome to everyone who wants to come hang out and just enjoy some content while we're all dealing with what we're dealing with. There are good things out there. So I just encourage everyone to keep on searching and holding on to those good things. And I promise it'll outweigh the bad as long as you just hold on to those good things.
Absolutely. And listeners, like I said, I appreciate you. You have been a blessing to me, and I hope that I can continue to be a blessing to you. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at sbfavor. I also have a YouTube channel. Please click like, leave me some feedback, and click the bell so that you can receive a notification each time there is a new episode of SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And Nigel, thank you again. Listeners, you have a good day.